Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our sports writing seminar. My name is Alvin F. Patal, secondary school teacher at Quezon National High School. I'm also the sports section critic of the Coconut and an editor, writer, and speaker. Alright, so to jumpstart with our sports writing seminar, let me just have our primer, which is Guess Who activity. How well you know some sports analogies. So just I'm gonna show you some portions of pictures, and you have to identify who that sports analogy is. All right. So first off, we have this one. She plays for Ateneo with the jersey number 2. She is Eliza Valdez. She plays for the Creamline Cool Smashers, and she is the first female volleyball athlete to win 4 awards in one UAAP season as best scorer, best server, season's MVP, and finals MVP. And she's also the MVP for season 76. Alright. And we also have the next one. Alright, so a swimmer. He is Michael Phelps, and he is the most decorated Olympian of all time. He holds 28 medals in the Olympics. Next one, we have this basketball player considered as the greatest of all time. He is Michael Jordan, 6-time NBA champion, 6-time finals MVP, 5-time NBA MVP, and 14-time NBA All-Star. And like what I said, the greatest of all time. Okay, for millennials, you could consider basketball as Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, but for classical basketball hoopers, we have Michael Jordan as the GOAT. Next up, we have number 24. He played for Creighton. He's none other than Kobe Paras. Played college in UCLA, Creighton, and Cal State Northridge. But presently, he decided to play for the Philippines through Gilas Pilipinas, and he's gonna join the UP Maroons in the upcoming UAAP season. Alright, next up, we have our tennis player. He is none other than Roger Federer. He was held number 1 seed in the Association of Tennis Professionals. He also won 19 Grand Slam single titles. Okay, one of the best tennis players. Alright, now let's go to the PBA. Alright, so we have L.A. Tenorio, the 2-time PBA champion, 2-time finals MVP, and 7-time PBA All-Star. Before, he played for Alaska Aces, and now he played for the Never Say Die team, Barangay Ginebra. Next up, we have this badminton player. 2-time Olympic champion, 5-time world champion, and 6-time All-England champion. He is none other than Lindan. Okay, so every basketball hooper would know Kobe Bryant. 5-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA Finals MVP, 18-time NBA All-Star, and 11-time All-NBA First Team. Okay, one of the greatest players to ever play the game. Next up, we have the greatest weightlifter from the Philippines. Alright, she is Heidi Lynn Diaz, and the youngest competitor during the 2008 Olympics, silver medalist in the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympics. And of course, just recently, last week, Heidi Lynn Diaz was the first female athlete to grab the gold medal for the Philippines in the Asian Games. And now, let's go to this basketball player. He is Kawhi Leonard, NBA champion in 2014 for the Spurs. Also the Finals MVP, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. And but actually, he's not gonna play for Spurs anymore. He's gonna transfer, or he already transferred for the Toronto Raptors. Okay, so we have the greatest sprinter of all time. He is Usain Bolt, the greatest sprinter from Jamaica. Alright, so let me just tell you something about these statements. You just tell me if it's hugot or not. Sports writers ay mahilig paglaruan. Definitely, sports writers would love to witness games, and at the same time, they love to explore sporting events, not just one but various sporting events. Number 2, ang mga sports writers ay stick to one. Well, actually, in the journalistic field of sports writing, you don't have to be stick to one. You have to play, or you have to have knowledge on various sporting events, not just one, but of course, it depends on the situation wherein would the call of situation permits you to cover a single event or another one. Okay, next one, ang mga sports writers ay mga laging nag-a-adjust. Definitely, if you're a sports writer, you have to adjust with your environment, with the game that you're gonna cover. Okay, so you definitely gotta adjust. Next one, ang sports writing ay parang pag-move on, mahirap sa una, ngunit sa huli makakasanayan mo na. Okay, so that's one. For beginning sports writers, definitely you might find it hard to cope up with the jargons, with the structure, and with the play-by-play. But of course, with time, you'll just get the hang of it. Number 5, ang mga sports writers ay sanay maghintay. Definitely, in the press cons, here, especially here in the Philippines, you would know a lot of experiences. Depends on you waiting, whatever game you're gonna cover. Alright, so I'm just gonna tell you something about these statements on sports writing. Sports articles guide readers in knowing what happened in the game. That's true. One won't be able to write sports articles if he or she can't play the game. That is false. Definitely, you don't have to play the game. You just have to be knowledgeable about the game. An eye for the plays and players is a key to good sports writing. That is true. You have to be a die-hard sports fan before you write an article. That's false. Okay, you don't have to have an eye for all sporting events. Okay, you just have to be knowledgeable about it. Sports writers should know the rules and regulations of the game. Okay, that is true. Okay, so let's start the discussion about sports writing. So sports reporting is news writing. Alright, so technically news writing is just a reflection of what sports writing is. The sports story has the structure of an action story, but with greater freedom of style in writing. Sports writing is considered a specialized field. Therefore, the sports writer is expected to possess certain qualities not so common among beat reporters, and at the same time, it is the game in print. Okay, let's say you missed the game, you were not able to watch the Asian Games, okay, specifically Gilas Pilipinas versus Korea. Of course, you would not be able to rely on videos, but you would love to read the game in a newspaper. So the sports article should reflect what happened in the game and the core of the game. Okay. Alright, so the question is how to win. So I'm gonna give you some simple tips on how to win, especially in the press cons. When we talk about winning, it's all about headline writing. You have to have a unique headline. Anyway, as we go through the discussion, I'm gonna show you the different types and what a winning headline looks like. We also have the lead. Okay, the first paragraph should be the strongest paragraph in your article. That's why it's the lead, and it should show the angle and the story of the game. We also have the plays, the key plays put into words. Okay, technically, this is the meat of your sports article. Next one, we have writing. You have to write clearly and concisely. Journalistic writing is just the same with other writing fields, but you have to write clearly and concisely. Definitely, there will be no storytelling in sports writing. This is a journalistic article and not a narrative essay. Next one, we also have interview. You have to talk to athletes and coaches, and you have to be a smart interviewer. Okay, definitely at the end of the game, you have to have the chance to talk with the star player or the winning coach, and you gotta be a smart interviewer. You don't have to be someone who just throw questions out of the blue. You have to formulate questions based on the plays and the turnout of the game. Next one, we have research. Do not come to games without any prior background about the match. Okay, Technically, when you do research, you do not just rely on facts on the current game that you are covering. You gotta have a view of what happened in the past and what the game is about in the future. Next one, we have you as sports writers, you have to be keen. You have to focus on what's happening and don't get distracted by the look of a pretty or handsome journalist. Next, you have to know the sports lingos and rules. Okay, so this comes in handy as sports writers. Lingos, jargons, and rules should be on your pockets. Next one, you have to be careful with adjectives. Use adjectives when necessary and justifiable. Okay, so now let's move on to one of the important things you gotta know about sports writing, and that is the power of verbs. In sports, there's no defeat, yet there is trouncing. So let me tell you something about the verbs that you have to use when we talk about close matches. Let's say the Gilas Pilipinas versus Korea last night. Okay, so we have to look at the score. It's 91-89. Okay, so you have to make use of the close matches verbs: pokes, edges, upends, holds off, sneaks past, shades, nips, survives, trounces, escapes, beats. Those are the verbs that you gotta use. Next up, for close matches in Filipino, you can make use of these following verbs: inungusan, bumalikwas, nagpumiglas, bumira, umungos, gumuhit, kumalas, inisahan, kumawala, dinaig, and pinutol. Let's say the score just comes right 82-80. Okay, so that is gonna be for close matches. Next one, we have the power of verbs when it comes to lopsided matches. When we talk about lopsided, definitely it's one-sided. Okay, it's in favor to one team. Let's say the score is 100-74. Okay, so team A gets the win, and you gotta use the following verbs: crush, rip, ruin, pummel, destroy, wreck, devastate, trounce, rout, annihilate, clobber, throbs, manhandles, dismantles, whips, bludgeons, drubs, thrashes, and wallops. Okay, so let me just make this clear. When we talk about verbs, you can make use of thousands of verbs in your vocabulary by reading newspapers, reading online articles, or even just looking at some sports writing books. Okay, but you gotta consider the appropriateness of the verb when it comes to the angle and the story of the game. Next up, we have for lopsided matches in Filipino: kumana, nagpasiklab, humataw, umariba, bumwelta, bumalandra, lumarga, isinalpak, ginulat, and winasa. Alright, so those words come in handy, but the writer has to make sure the verbs are appropriate for the game. Note, if the verb is already used in the headline, you can never use it again in your lead. We call this mirroring of verbs, and that is prohibited in journalistic writing, particularly sports writing. Okay, now let me show you guys the structure of a sports news. So as what you can see on the screen, it's just the same as news writing. We follow the inverted triangle structure. On top of the triangle, we have the headline, and the biggest chunk of the sports news goes to the lead, and the paragraph supporting the lead, the quote for the star player, the play-by-play supporting the lead, the play-by-play of the last quarter, the play-by-play of the preceding quarter, or the quarter before that, and the third quarter and the second quarter. Okay, so this is the standard structure of a sports news. Next one, we have the headline: first impressions last. Okay, so I told you guys that headline is one of the keys to winning in sports writing contests, and we have different types of headline actually. Okay, number one is what we call the usual headline. This is the winner, no moniker. Moniker is actually the name given to a specific team. Let's say Ateneo, the moniker will be Blue Eagles. So this time we gotta omit the moniker. Okay, we have to stick with the name of the school, let's say. And then the verb should describe the win and then the losing team. This is actually the most basic type of headline. It follows the SVO format. Ateneo repulses LaSalle, Gilas annihilates Malaysia, Murray edges Djokovic. Okay, but if you're gonna use this type of headline in sports writing contest, definitely you will have a thin chance of winning the contest. Why? Because you have to rely on the second type of headline. This is what we call the modified headline. When we say modified headline, it's all about the winner. There shall be no moniker. The verb should describe the win, and then the losing team and the phrase modifier. So the defining difference here is the phrase modifier. The phrase modifier could be the game that they're into. Let's say Ocampo thwarts Santos in Taekwondo. So in Taekwondo is our phrase modifier. Next one, we have Dan Wallop's way in badminton. And then the phrase modifier could also mean another thing. It could tell us the stage of the sporting event you're covering or the turnout of the game. South Korea stuns Gilas in FIBA semis. Okay, in FIBA semis. So this shows us the angle of the story that this win cost the Philippines for a semifinal spot or semifinals berth in the FIBA Asia. And the last type of headline is what I call the story-based headline. This shows the winner, the verb, and the phrase modifier. But the phrase modifier this time would tell us the angle or the story of your article. Bata Reyes pockets gold in pool tilt. Hombrete leads juniors atop rivals in basketball. Lobusta Hinojosa stun couples to extend reign in dance sport. Alright, as you can see in the example number 3, the phrase modifier is to extend reign in dance sport. So meaning to say, Lobusta and Hinojosa were the past winners, they're the defending champion, and they just extended their reign in the specific event. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, we now go to the lead. It's sweating out the game in words. I'm just gonna show you the specific types of lead in sports writing. Okay, so this is the very traditional. We have the direct lead in sports, particularly the summary lead. Example is the Cleveland Cavaliers fired a record-setting 25 three-pointers as they pummeled the Atlanta Hawks 123-98 to seize a 2-0 lead in the Eastern Conference Playoff Series on Wednesday. That's the summary lead showing us the who, how, what, where, and when. Next one, we have this example. The selections, trinangkuhan ng opensiba ni Lait, pinasingasing ang All-Star sa demonstration match. Humilagpos mula sa matamlay na simula ang Tagaytay Selections upang ungusan ang game-high 21 puntos ng Tagaytay All-Star na si Emil Lait matapos hawakan ang bentahe sa third set at ipanalo ang 3-set squeaker sa demonstration game ng RSPC qualifiers kahapon. So it shows us the who, what, where, when, and how. And then for another example, we have selections negate Lait's explosive game, trip all-stars in demonstration match. Tagaytay Selections recovered from a lethargic first set, overcoming the game-high 21 points of Tagaytay All-Star Spitfire, Emil Lait as they turned things around in the third set and claimed the hard-fought 3-set squeaker in their demonstration game for RSPC qualifiers yesterday. We also have the best player lead. It's showing us who is the best player and what did he do to win the game, or what stellar performance he showed in the game. Kevin Durant tied his career playoff high with 41 points as he led the Oklahoma City Thunder to a 111-97 victory over the San Antonio Spurs on Sunday that tied the NBA Western Conference semifinal series at 2-2. So obviously Kevin Durant here is the best player, towing the team Oklahoma City Thunder to with 41 points. Best player lead, we also have Stephen Curry's or toast Golden State to 24-0. So there could be one single rule in this one. We have this single name and the verb in the team, but somehow it depends on the appropriateness of your headline, depending on what the judges say or what is the need in the game. You can also make use of double liners. Stephen Curry scored 38 points as the Golden State Warriors improved to 24 wins with no loss or defeat this season by outlasting the Boston Celtics 124 and 119 in double overtime Friday night. In Filipino, we have Stephen minanduhan ng 24 panalo para sa Golden State. Hinablot ni Stephen Curry ang kanyang game-high record na 38 points upang hatakin ng Golden State para sa 24-0 win-loss record matapos kalusin ang Boston Celtics 124-119 sa double overtime kahapon. So what you can see here in the Filipino example, so what makes your lead and even your headline appealing and strong will be the use of verbs like minanduhan, hinablot, hatakin, and kalusin. Next up, we have the key play lead. This type of lead shows us the turning point or the highlight in the game. And this turning point allowed the team to win or to grab the fantastic win for the team. Joe Johnson scored on a tough fadeaway with 1 second left to tie the score in regulation and another jumper in overtime to lead the Brooklyn Nets defeat the Phoenix Suns in the NBA game Sunday. Alright, so we can see Joe Johnson's tough fadeaway as the game winner in the game. Next up, we have the key play lead. Gardner's free throw lifts Dragon versus Alab. Kiwi Gardner. Okay, so I put some phrases in the parentheses because we can omit or we can delete these phrases. We just wanna show the lead direct to the point. Drilled sack 2 pressure pack free throws with 2 seconds left to help the Dragons hold off an Alab Pilipinas late rally 79-77 and end the defending champions 3-game slide against the Philippine team in the ASEAN Basketball League yesterday. Next up, we have the key play lead in Filipino. Gardner kumana ng 2 free throws para sa gipin ng Dragons. Nagsalpak, kumamada si Kiwi Gardner ng 2 peligrosong mabigat pamatay na free throw. May 2 segundo na lamang ang nalalabi para trangkuhan ang pagdiskaril ng Dragons sa huling rally ng Alab Pilipinas 79-77 sa ASEAN Basketball League kahapon. Alright, so it's just the same angle. It is just translated into Filipino. Okay, now let's go to the best run lead. Okay, so of course when we talk about run, this is the long rally that is applied by the team in order to gain control and manage to get the win in the game. Never Say Die University of the East wiped out the 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter to snatch a 68-66 victory over LaSalle and stay alive in the race for the Final Four in the UAAP Season 77 men's basketball tournament at the Smart Araneta Coliseum yesterday. So the winning run in the lead is actually wiping out the 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter. So you would know that LaSalle should have won the game, but Never Say Die UE was able to bounce back and reclaim the momentum. Next up, we have the record-setting lead. Okay, so when we say record-setting, we talk about any record-setting play, record-setting statistics, or record-setting scores by star players in order for them to lift their team to the win. Example, outside hitter Miguel Rafael Rongalerios of grade 9 bucked the odds as he pumped in personal high 11 kills to power the juniors with a come-from-behind triumph past veteran seniors 23-25, 25-21, 18-15 in the men's volleyball finals of the QNHS Intramurals at the Alcala Sports Complex July 22. So obviously in here, we can see that the record-setting performance by Rongalerios is pumping in personal high 11 kills for the junior. Alright, so I would just like to make it clear for the types of lead. You may use summary lead, star player lead, best run lead, record setting lead, or even the game winner lead. But it depends actually on the judge, and it depends on the turnout of the game. But what I suggest, if you really want to win in press cons, you might want to stick with best run lead, key player lead, and key play lead. Okay, because these type of leads could be used in all types of plays, and will it will actually give out the best story in your coverage. Revise, edit, and polish. We have to always bear in mind that we have to clean up unwanted phrases and flowery lines. Example: Sariaya falls twice to beat advantage of Candelaria. Trek's rough road to championship. So what you can see, the headline is too long. Jonathan Talan's stellar performance gave a huge boost for Sariaya as they squeaked past Candelaria in a tie 3-2 match and pocketed their first championship in the men's volleyball finals of unit meet at Lusacan Chaong yesterday. So we can actually revise and edit this type of headline lead. The headline will be Talan sizzles with 25 as Sariaya outlasts Candelaria in 5-setter thriller. Talan keyed a telling 5-0 run in the deciding 5th set, enabling Sariaya to dislodge a pesky Candelaria side to capture their maiden championship of the unit meet men's volleyball at Lusacan Chaong, Quezon yesterday. As what you can see, we just used some statistics and figures, and we made the lead direct to the point and shorter. Okay, so as same with other journalistic writing tips, the shorter the headline, the better. Same thing with the lead. Alright, so actually you can make use of some other videos, especially those in YouTube. Okay, you can have your own drills in writing the headline and the lead. You can also watch some videos online, especially if you guys are subscribing to ESPN, Fox Sports, or even SNA here in the Philippines. Now let me just talk about something, specifically the body of your sports article, because this is the chunk of the play-by-play. Okay, let me just make it clear that play-by-plays should look like the major highlights, the turning point, the crucial turnovers, and the defining moment. These are the words of Michael Angelo Hugado, the full court author and also a writer or sports writer of the Malaya Business Insight. Okay, so when we talk about the sports article play-by-play, this is not just narration. Okay, I would just like to remind everybody that when you're writing sports articles, you should not be narrating what happened in the game. Let's say the referee called the players, specifically the centers, and he threw the ball up in the air, and the centers just dig in for the jump ball. It's not sports writing, okay? Because when we talk about writing sports articles, it's looking at the highlights of the game and the flow of the game. Specifically, you have to show the players' movements and actions, the score, the key play, and also the turnout of the game. That is how you write the play-by-play. So let me just give you some big tips in sports writing. You have to select the strongest angle. You have to write it in plain, specific details. You have to let the facts tell the story. You have to avoid long list of statistics or scores. And you have to highlight the most important and put others in a sidebar. Alright, so that's it for our single sports story. Now let me just tell you something about the composite sports story. This has been the trend in the press cons, specifically in the Philippines, that you have to cover not just one but two or more gamers in one news. Well, Normally, same principles are followed in writing a composite story. The challenge lies in merging two or more articles into one. However, as a sports writer, one should find a way to smoothly combine the action, ideas, highlights, and angle into one coherent article. One example is this one. Alcano bludgeons Reyes to nail finals berth. Yeah, and of course, obviously, you separate the first article with a semicolon. Espinoza manhandles Alora to cop semi's bid. Now let's go to the lead. Cue artist Ronnie Alcano from the Philippines and rookie Jean Maria Espinoza of Mexico stood firm in their respective 2016 World 9-Ball Race to 9 semifinal and Taekwondo Women's Round of 16 quarterfinal tournaments as they pulled off a convincing win to secure a finals and semifinal spot yesterday. So as what you can see guys on the lead, we just combined or merged the two articles into one. So we all know that Ronnie Alcano and Maria Espinoza are the winners coming from the Philippines and Mexico respectively. So we just showed their names there, emphasized their respective tourneys or tournaments and how they let themselves pull off a convincing win, and they actually nabbed the finals and semifinal spot in their respective tournaments. Same goes with the play-by-plays in your sports or composite sports story. Okay, you just have to separate it in your article with transition devices like meanwhile, on the other games, likewise, and all others. Now let me just talk about some sports idioms. Green Archers stained Bulldogs to stay unscathed, meaning no loss yet for the team. Jeron Tang stepped up in the fourth quarter to toe De La Salle University. Tang notched 8 of his 23 points in the final canto of 11 of 18 shooting. Opened the second frame on an impressive run highlighted by Matthew Aquino's three-pointer. Bulldogs exploited the Green Archers' costly turnovers. You can actually adapt these sports idioms, but I'm telling you guys to please do not rely on copying the exact verbs. You can actually modify depending on the appropriateness of the sentence. Next one, we have halted Barangay Ginebra's 4-game winning streak to grab the top seeding after the elimination round. Struggled in his offense in the last few games. Poured in 19 points and 10 assists. Drew 34 points, 14 rebounds from Justin Brownlee. Lived up to their top billing up against a cracked field. Set the stage for a rout. Turned its fortune around. Achieved another milestone, pulled off a gigantic, huge, biggest upset, rode back to life, stepped up their attack, group for form, lapsed into a series of errors. Another set will be catapulted into the semifinals or finals next round, found his range, touch, or rhythm, proved steadier down the stretch, saddled with foul trouble, Pound's early meltdown, last-ditch rally fizzled out, started out flat but came to life, added another feather in its cap. And then for Filipino, we have nagtala ng bagong record, sumungkit ng panibagong karangalan, inuwi ang corona, winalis ang karibal. Tinahak ang matarik na akyatan, hindi nagpapigil sa pag-atake, sinikwat ang titulo, kampyonato at huling pwesto. Dinomina, inuwi at ikinopo ang corona, nabunutan ng tinik sa lalamunan. Alright, so just for some haymaker in here, I would just like to make it clear guys that sports writing could not just be learned in one discussion or in one sitting or even overnight. This is a matter of commitment. When you're as a sports writer, you always gotta make sure that you find time reading sports articles in dailies, even online newspapers, and you get to you get some advices from from some experts or even sports writers. Okay, so I hope you guys learned something about sports writing, especially headline writing, lead writing, and writing play-by-plays. My name is Alvin F. Patal from the Coconut of Quezon National High School. Thank you so much.